Well, good afternoon. I'm excited. This afternoon I have Joel Mikell with us. Joel, if you don't know him, is the president of RSI Stewardship. They're helping churches across the country with stewardship and helping churches accomplish big vision, which I'm excited about. Today's conversation, though, Joel, is a little bit different because I wanted to share with folks the new ebook that you just released. It's actually a revision of Church Giving Matters, an ebook that came out, I guess, several months ago, but it looks like you've refreshed it with new material. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct, Tony. And I had the privilege of working with Ben Strout, who was the original author in this revision, update, kind of a second edition. So, yeah, it was. It's just been uploaded on Amazon and just waiting to be downloaded.
Well, let's start with this basic question: why do we need another book on stewardship and generosity?
It's a great question, and there are a lot of great books out there on generosity, but often you find, Tony, that they're either heavy and theory and theology and maybe weak somewhat on practical applications and strategies, or the other way around. Here are some steps and action items to take, but no real then connection back to the deeper spiritual level theology. And so I think what this book does in a very helpful way is kind of bringing a balance to the two. There's kind of a healthy balance of biblical teaching around stewardship and motivation, what motivates givers to give, but also to balance the theology and the theoretical, some immediate next steps. In fact, there's a bonus section that gives 31 steps that a church can walk through that will help grow and increase their stewardship culture. So, I think it's just this great blending of theology, theory, philosophy, and then let's get to work and get some things done.
Well, that's good. Because, Joel, I'm not a highly cerebral guy, so I need things to be simple. So that's good.
It is, exactly. It is an easy read, but it has great depth in application. I think the illustrations, some of the applications, will be easy to connect to. But then for those who want I just want to get some high-level stuff, but I really want some of the practical action next steps, it's got a lot of that.
All right, so we talked about the fact that this is kind of a refresh, a second edition. So give me some insight into what's new in this second edition, Joel.
Two primary ways that the reader will find if they had the first edition of Church Giving Matters. Two primary ways that they'll find some differences is at the end of each chapter there are 5 or 6 discussion questions that literally could become for a finance team or a church staff doing a focus on stewardship. Could become a curriculum or a study guide. So you read a chapter, and then there are some questions to ask yourselves and that a church can ask. So the discussion questions, as I mentioned earlier, probably the most clear definitive difference is the bonus section of 31 ready-to-go action steps that a church can go through. And then within the book, just some updating of some statistics and some illustrations that are more specific to 2011, 2012.
That's good. So I know Ben was involved in the first edition. How did you get connected on the second go-around?
That's a great story. And actually the introduction of the book kind of details that. But just very briefly, Tony, it really is a God thing. I was, and it was a book that actually connected the two of us. I was in Kentucky at the Kentucky Baptist Convention, sitting there with a friend, and he handed me this book, Church Giving Matters. Said, "Have you ever read this book, and I said no. And of course, I didn't think much of it, but I wanted to be courteous to Billy Compton, who was the individual. And so I stuck it in my backpack. I said, I'll read it one day. And several months later on a flight, didn't have anything else to read. And so I thought, well, let me read this book about this guy named Ben Stroop. Even pronounced the last name wrong. And I tell you, once I got into and through the first chapter, I thought this guy is sharp. He's a great writer, and he knows what's going on. He knows his stuff, and he gets it. He gets the whole stewardship picture. And so I reached out to him, and we began a kind of a email, texting kind of conversation that went on for a number of months. And then end of last year, 2011, he was in position, we were in position to begin thinking more about coming together and combining passions and skills and giftedness. And so one thing led to another, and in January of this year, Ben Stroup, I learned how to pronounce his last name, invited me to partner with him in the updating and the revising of the book. That was actually the tool that brought us together several years before. So to me, it's that kind of full circle. This is what brought us together, and now I get to be a part of the next voicing of it, the next iteration. And it's just, for me, it was a book that I had begun to recommend to every church where I went, because I was saying to pastors, this is good stuff, and this can help you, and let's figure out how we can make some applications to your church and to your finance, your stewardship ministry. So I'm recommending this book, and now I get to be a part of it. So
that's fantastic.
It was an honor, a real honor, and I think a God thing of how it all worked out.
Well, Joel, on my site, there are a number of church leaders, pastors that are connected, that are kind of following the conversation. And so I'm just curious, as it relates to this resource, how can this best help pastors take their next steps?
Again, though it is easy to read, and it doesn't take a dictionary or a concordance. It just has so much practical help. So I think pastors that will first resonate with the biblical platform of stewardship and teaching, I think they're going to really, really resonate with, boy, here are 3 things that we can do this month from these 31, and the ability to go in to their budget and finance team or their staff and to be able to activate and engage some of these things. I think that's going to be helpful. I love the part in the book that talks about it's the idea of connecting money to ministry. And so often, I think where we miss the opportunity to inspire and motivate people is they don't know where their money is going, and they don't understand that I'm not giving to a budget, and I'm not giving to an offering plate, or I'm not giving to a box at the back of this church, but my giving is the fuel for ministry, which is one of the chapter titles, that my giving is enabling ministry to take place. So some very practical things around how do you connect money to ministry. Also, the whole idea of sustainable giving as opposed to episodic giving, and kind of leveling out where you don't have the big up and downs, but how do you move more to kind of some sustainable models? I think one of the things that will be also helpful, Tony, to pastors is a very clear explanation of what their responsibility is, and the impact that their engagement and their passion is going to have on the rest of the church. So I think there's some things very specific to how a pastor can translate it. I also think it's just a great tool for a pastor, again, to engage and to use with with their leadership teams, their budget and finance team, their stewardship team, whatever group they happen to connect with that's helping plan the budget or helping put together the spending of the church. And one of the things that Ben says that I think is spot on is a book that helps fill the gap between what you were trained to do in seminary and what you are actually required to do in leading a church. And our seminaries are getting better about teaching stewardship to pastors and church leaders, but that's a recent thing, and so I think those that are coming out of the seminary are better equipped. But there still is a tremendous need to kind of connect that gap for some of us that have been out of the seminary for years and maybe even decades.
Well, Joel, I appreciate the opportunity to catch up with you today to hear about Church Giving Matters, and for those of you that are listening in and are intrigued by the resource, it's not expensive, it's doable. It's because it's a Kindle download, so you can go to Amazon and check that out. And Joel, I just want to let you know I really appreciate our friendship. Your team is helping great churches across the country, including some good friends of mine in different churches across the country. And so if they want to learn more about RSI, where can I send them?
www.rsistewardship.com. And one of the cool things, Tony, is we're getting ready to roll out our new website. It's kind of a soft launch in May, but a complete launch in June. And excited about sending people there. They can then find, because typically people want to, before they make a phone call, they want to do some research and some due diligence. And so I would say start with the website, go look at some of the things, resources. There's a lot of free downloads, a lot of resources there, but also then a way to make contact with us where we can then reach out to them if they'd like, or some phone numbers where they can then call into us. We'd be honored to be a part of a conversation with a church whose passion is to reach people with the love of Christ.
Very good. Thanks again, Joel, for joining us this afternoon.
Blessings to you, Tony. Thanks so much. Appreciate you and what all you do. Thank you, man.